Welcome to the Unseen Emotional Podcast, and today we're going to talk about how your sport impacts your life. I'm your host, Jasmin Fajardo, a rising junior and a cheerleader, a volleyball player, and I'm also in theater club. I love to sleep and try new foods in SF. Today we are here with Jasmin Fajardo, just to get to know you. What is your sport, grade, and why did you pick your sport?
So my name is Jasmin Fajardo. I'm a rising high school senior. I play volleyball and I have been playing it since the 8th grade, and I'm typically opposite. And honestly, I kind of just picked it just because my coaches usually assign that because I'm left-handed, so it just felt most convenient.
Mm. Okay, like I said, we're going to talk about how does your sport impact your life. Starting for our first question, first is negatively. How has the sport impact your life negatively?
Well, honestly, I would say it can get pretty overwhelming at times, especially during my junior year, which was this past school year.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I was taking a really big, heavy workload for AP classes. I'm involved in ASB as the secretary, and I'm going to be the vice president this upcoming school year. I am also a part of a bunch of different programs throughout the school year. And so, learning how to manage my time between my heavy workload, studying for tests, and volunteering for community service as well was actually really difficult, especially considering that volleyball took up so much of my time after school. We would have like our 2-hour practices, and then when we were at away games, it was especially difficult because we'd get home really late, maybe past like 7 p.m. sometimes. And
Yeah.
so I did feel drained at times, but I think it was also a really nice way to relax because it's something that I enjoyed doing.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I feel like we would not we would get to our houses when we had games to like 10 and we had like no time to do our homework. It was just like really frustrating with the schedules, and sometimes it would be really hot, so we would be like super drained after games. So yeah. Now moving on to the positively side. Um, has yeah, so like what has your sport given you that you took it away, that's like you use in your personal life, or it can be physically, mentally, or socially, that you have like, oh, this like really has helped me, or um gave me new relationships.
Yeah, so as much as volleyball can be tiring, I would say that I am really grateful that I joined it because it's where I met a lot of my best friends who I talk to even outside of the sport now.
Hmm.
And especially in middle school when I first started playing, I would say I was like really shy. I wasn't really involved in extracurriculars in middle school, and I would only speak to like my two close friends at the time. However, once I joined, I met a lot of new people and I realized that socializing is really fun and important. And I've been able to use those communication and teamwork skills at a lot of the programs that I'm involved in. So it has definitely helped me with that.
That's good. Um, some other question is, how does your sports life sometimes have conflict with your personal life? And how do you like navigate it?
Yeah, so it can, like I mentioned, this past season was really stressful. And so I think learning how to balance everything while also having like self care time was pretty difficult, but I think usually what I do is after practice or something, I do my homework and I just get what I need to get done immediately after I return from a game. And then I always make sure to get enough sleep because I think that's really the most important for me.
Hmm.
And so, in terms of balancing, I would just say it's about not procrastinating and having my priorities straight. And by I do that through using like a to-do list and things of that sort.
Another question can be, um, what happens if like you sometimes don't get what you wanted to be done, or like you don't have time for a thing that you really wanted to do? Like, how do you kind of go around it and kind of um like make sure that you're like, okay, that's fine or something like that? Like, how do you like deal with not um like not getting like your schedule sometimes missing something?
Yeah. So I'm usually, honestly, I was kind of hard on myself this past season because I was so used to like always turning, like, for example, assignments in on time and like having straight A's. I've always been a straight A student. And so this past season, when I wasn't able to sometimes meet the deadlines, I think it's really just about like reassuring myself that I can do it, and also just being open with my teachers really helped. They knew that I have always been really academically driven, and so just telling them the
Artlist.io.
circumstances, they often were open to giving me extensions, or I would also go to office hours for extra help. So just reminding myself that I can really do anything regardless of like maybe not meeting a deadline.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that
Music
because I
licensing
also,
reimagined.
well, I only had one AP last year, which is AP Spanish, but I feel like it was pretty easy because I speak Spanish at home. But it was like the AP test really like stressed me out because I don't like to be timed. I feel like it like makes me too nervous, so I just perform bad. Um, but I try to like really do my best, and it was good. And like obviously
Artlist.io.
sometimes for me, I would like reach out to my teachers, and sometimes they wouldn't give me the extension or the excuse, and I'm like, okay. And so I was like, for like the little things, and sometimes the little things can really get you in the grades,
Music licensing
especially for like
reimagined.
exit tickets and do nows, and especially because we had for like volleyball, we sometimes miss our last period. And my last period was English, so that was really hard because we had to do our essays, and our teacher did not like. Sometimes she didn't give us grace, so I can definitely relate to that.
Artlist.io.
And another question can be: have you ever like quit or taken a break because of your sport?
Yeah, I actually did. I quit like this past season during junior year, and it was also because I honestly
Music
let the
licensing
stress get to me.
reimagined.
As I mentioned a while ago, I my four AP classes were like really taking a toll on me, especially because my last period was AP Environmental Science,
Hmm?
and that's the class like you mentioned that I would always miss. And when you take AP classes, especially a lot of them at the same time, there's usually quizzes like every single class, or just lectures that you don't want to miss because the unit exams come up really quickly.
Artlist.io.
And so I noticed that I was missing far too many quizzes, and it was hard to make them up because after school I would have practice, and that's usually when their office hours were. And so just from that and being like disappointed because my grade in that class was dropping from missing it so much, I
Music
realized that I needed
licensing
to prioritize
reimagined.
my academics and well-being over everything because I was honestly really stressed last season, and I think a lot of our teammates kind of knew that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I took a break. I think in September and October is when I started like missing a couple practice initially, and then I fully quit like by the end of October. But I am open to like rejoining this season, and hopefully I know how to manage the stress.
Artlist.io.
Yeah. So what would you say that you like sacrifice for your sport?
I probably, I think it wasn't intentionally, like I mentioned, but like
Music
I kind of
licensing
sacrificed my grades at
reimagined.
first, which is definitely something that student athletes should not do.
Yeah.
Like I care a lot about my grades, and the main reason that I didn't want to quit volleyball was because considering that I was so stressed, being at practice and at the games like made me take my life for a couple of hours. was just like a way for me to kind of forget about my stress, but at the same time, it wasn't contributing to it. Then another thing I
Artlist.io.
sacrificed was my sleep, which I also don't recommend.
Yeah.
I would when I would get home late, I would often like pull all-nighters to in order to like study for a quiz that I would have the next day, and I think that was I stayed up until like 6
Music
a.m.
licensing
studying for quizzes,
reimagined.
and then
You just wake up early for a quiz.
because that day I was alone. Yeah, on Sunday, and so it was so bad, and I definitely wouldn't recommend that. And I think that's when I noticed like I'm not even joking, like, my sleep schedule, when I messed it up, it kinda just, like, took a really big toll on me, like, I would go to sleep I think the earliest I would go to sleep every day throughout those times was, like, 2 AM, which is, like, really late, so,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't recommend that.
And for your like homework and stuff, did you have like a schedule on your phone or like your computer or something?
Yeah, so I use, like, a lot of things because I usually initially, at the beginning of the year, I thought that I could just remember all my assignments in my head because that's what
Mhm,
I always used to do before, but the jump from, like, 0 to 4 AP classes was, like, really big, and so I realized I couldn't just remember everything by myself anymore, and so, initially, I would sometimes use the reminders app on my phone,
mhm,
and I like it because you can write down, like, what you wanna get done and set, like, a time. So, like, if there's an assignment that you wanna start at 5 PM, it'll remind you at 5 PM.
mhm.
And so that worked for a while until I started just dismissing and, like, snoozing them. So then I resorted to I would put, like, a sticky note on my laptop and list every single assignment that I had to do and what day it was due.
Mm.
And since we always use our Chromebooks at school, like, every time I would open it, I would look at that, so I think that was more effective, but I also really recommend, like, using Google Calendar or Planner is nice too, because for me, when I have, like, a cute aesthetic planner, it makes me wanna, like, use it and check things off the list, you know?
Yeah.
So, that's what I do to kind of, like, remind me of what I need to do.
Mhm. Kind of like going on the academic side. Um, what do you think is the best way to communicate to teachers?
I think telling them at the beginning of the school year, especially since our season is in the fall, and, like, that's the most important time to, like, get to know your new teachers and establish that relationship. I think what I would do is I used to tell them in advance if I would be like I'm like, "Oh, I'm in volleyball, I might be leaving your class pretty often," and just let them know at the beginning of class every time before you leave for a game as well. Or also emailing them. I think as long as you are just really honest about your circumstances and they know that you're actually putting in the work, then they'll be open to, like, extending it.
Yeah. Um, moving on to like more sports stuff. Um, like what do you feel like sports is a really good way to like um kind of expand your social skills or have like kind of independent skills 'cause since we have to go to games kind of alone without our parents and sometimes those bus rides are like 2 hours. So what how has like volleyball helped you develop your independence?
Yeah, I think my communication skills have improved. Like, for example, during in 8th grade, I think that season wasn't as enjoyable just because everyone was, like, really shy and nobody established, like, relationships with one another outside of practice, you know?
Mhm.
And so but once I was in freshman year, I started talking to my teammates outside of this practice, and I think having that bond with them where it feels more like a family is what helped me grow. And yeah, like I really do want to emphasize communication because I think it's taken me so far. It's you're going to need those skills even in the real world, whether it's like interviews for a summer program that you want to do or like a job, which I don't have yet. But I am a part of like a summer program currently, and that's also how I've been able to meet new people and be more open to it.
That's good. And um, how would you say like broke out of your shell? Like in eighth grade, you said that you're very shy. What is like just like hanging out with people or like something you kind of like force yourself to do just to like um or like so it just came naturally.
It definitely didn't come naturally because I used to be the type to like even overthink like waving at someone.
Mhm,
Like I was just shy about like any little thing. But I think it's also about who you surround yourself with. For example, like one of my best friends now, Abby, I
mhm,
think she really helped me because she told me nothing is embarrassing unless you find it embarrassing. I think that's what it was.
mhm,
And so I don't know, that just kind of stuck to me and I was like, she's right. Like at the end of the day, nobody nobody really cares like in a negative sense, you know? Like you
mhm.
shouldn't be embarrassed about like who you are and how you perceive yourself as long as it's like positive. So I think because she was pretty outgoing, it just pushed me to be more outgoing.
Mm. That's nice to have like a friend like that. Because I definitely struggle to like um kind of like just socialize because I feel like it's kind of like weird sometimes, but it's definitely like when you wave at someone, it just like kind of it's comforting and you're just like, oh, that's good. Like they know me, they wave at me. And like sometimes in practice I get shy. Um and like kind of I don't know why I like kind of like force myself to like just like focus on the instead of like enjoying the moments with our teammates. And I kind of like put myself really serious and then like I reflect on the practice and I'm just like, damn, I just like had a mean face the whole time and I didn't really enjoy practice. And especially now that it's not really like that hard and just like it's kind of like to enjoy and kind of like
Yeah.
but I'm but I'm trying to like focus more on that and just like really enjoy the moments because when we go in the season, it's more like, oh, you have to do your best or else like we're just gonna not like mix well and not have that like team spirit, I guess.
Yeah. I definitely like sometimes I do have like a resting face and I think that's what like the when people have like resting faces that are kind of like mad like me. I feel like that's what would make me like scared to approach people, but like whenever someone speaks to me like I'm always like really like happy to help, you know?
Yeah.
Like during practice like I'm always giving I think especially like the underclassmen like I'm always giving them recommendations about like what classes they should take over the summer or what summer programs they should apply to. And it just at the end of the day it just makes me really happy to like help people out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, being open is really helpful.
Yeah. I feel like upperclassmen like yourself really help the lower classmen because they kind of break out the shell because we see how open like and to advice. It really helps the lower classmen to like find themselves and kind of be reassured that like, oh, like someone already did it, so I can talk to them for advice, and it would make us really comfortable to like try to explore those new programs or those volleyball skills.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so we, me and my kind of advisee, um, we got some sources, and we found out that a lot of young people um, integrate their sports life with their personal life, and it gives them skills that help them a lot. Um, So my question is, how has like your independence helped other people with their independence? Kind of what we talk about.
Mhm. I think as much as it's important to like obviously when you're in volleyball like you do rely on each other during the game,
Yeah.
but like the independence comes in when like you're making sure that you're doing your part, you know?
Mhm.
Because we all have like our own positions that and we all have like our own roles that we need to fill in. And so and I guess independence comes in to play there. And in terms of like my personal life, I would say I'm pretty independent because like my parents have never had to be like on me, like reminding me of the things that I need to do, you know?
Mhm.
Like I've always just been a pretty independent person by keeping track of all my deadlines. And I think that's just kind of part of who I am. So, yeah.
Mm. To close off, I just want to like give you some space if you want to talk about anything about how you improved or still are improving your mental health when it comes to sports and balancing all of the extracurriculars or academic wise. Some tips or tricks for having balance or just small things like cleaning your room or something like that.
Yeah, so I would definitely reemphasize what I've said before. I think getting enough sleep is super important because for me, when I don't have enough sleep, like I'm kind of like a little more, I guess, moody throughout the day and I'm less motivated to get what I need to get done. And eventually, like the lack of sleep really does catch up to you and it just ruins your mental health like it has to me in the past. Also, I would say drink water. Like I was often very dehydrated, and so it was like a combination of lack of sleep and dehydration that like also really got to me. And make sure to use like a planner or your phone. And also I really like how you brought up like cleaning your room. For me, my room has always been like pretty clean and organized, but I noticed that like when my mental health was declining during the season, like my room started getting more messy. But I think
Mhm.
having a clean space just like makes me want to be more productive. And so now I make sure to like keep everything organized like it was before.
Thank you for your tips and thank you for coming on the podcast. And I hope you have a really great day. Um, and that's it for today. Again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Um, and I hope like you take this as advice or like reassurance. And thank you for giving us advice on how we can better our mental health when it comes to being young athletes, because it is very hard, especially because we have to balance so much and it does sometimes cause burnout or not having